request all of you to just close your eyes and relax wherever you are sitting. Sit in a relaxed position, close your eyes, and just keep your attention on your breath. Just be aware of your breath. There is no need to change the pattern of the breath. Relax your shoulders, relax your lower back, relax your thighs, relax your face, and just keep your awareness on your breath. Become aware of the state of your mind. Whatever be the thoughts, just accept them. Whatever be the feelings, let's accept them too. And just keep a gentle awareness on the flow of the breath. Let the mind follow the breath. As the breath goes in, let the mind go within. And as the breath comes out, let the mind also come out. If the mind runs away, it doesn't matter. Gently bring it back. And once again, just observe the breath. And keep the mind with the breath. All those who are joining now, we are just keeping our attention on the breath. Just relax in the chair you're sitting. Relax the body and keep your attention on the breath. Keep your eyes closed. Once again, for those who are joining in now, we are just sitting comfortably in our chair, body relaxed, and our attention on the breath. मन को सांस के साथ जोड़ दें. Become aware of the state of your mind. Become aware of the breath. Notice as you observe the breath becomes longer and deeper. As you observe the breath, the mind relaxes, the body relaxes. Just be aware of what is happening. Take a long deep breath in and breathe out. Take another long deep breath in. And as you breathe out, become aware of your environment, of your body. And slowly and gently, we may open our eyes.
Recording.
So all those who have done that little process with us, if you could share on the chat how you feel right now. How's your body? How's your mind? How's your breath? Did you notice any change? Jatinti, can they post on the chat?
Yes, I would request all to please, you can comment in the chat box.
Jatin, please permit me in.
So one person has responded, he's feeling relaxed. What about the others? No comments? Feeling flying while eyes closed. Very nice. I think Colonel's video is off, Jatin. I think he needs some help from you.
Jatin.
Colonel Saab, you are already a host. You can switch on your video.
Video is not starting from here.
Yeah, so there must be something at your end, technical issue.
So ये सब चलता रहता है, right? We have all these issues which come up in our workplace also. It's just 5 minutes and I'm seeing that people are giving comments that they're feeling light and relaxed. So I thought that rather than speaking of yoga, just speaking of yoga, it is good to have an experience when we begin, right? So that is why we did this little thing in the start, that while we are waiting, all we did is we kept our attention on the breath, and we found that the mind settles, the body relaxes, and breath becomes deeper, right? So this can be done anytime, anywhere. You are sitting in a meeting, waiting for it to start. It's the ideal thing to do. Relax your body and mind, and things just shift. Isn't that a good idea? Yes, Colonel.
Thank you, Dee. That was a wonderful way to start the evening. I couldn't be better, feeling so relaxed after this initial small little snippet only of yoga. And I'm sure by the end of it, we're going to be, in a different plane altogether. Folks, welcome, good evening. A hearty welcome to this special session on the International Yoga Day. I think we're really blessed that we have this opportunity, and we've taken this opportunity of joining in today. And it's really a fortunate activity for us that today Mrs. Priti Bhatnagar has come forward and helped us, is going to be helping us in learning new things in life. Mrs. Priti is was a well-known name in the corporate world. She had reached the zenith of her career. She was India head at that was Headstrong. Yes, Headstrong. She was, leading finance in HCL Infosystem. Bennett Coleman, Motherson, Sumi Motherson. She was head of finance at various organizations. Till one day that she decided that I've had enough of this. I want to change the plane and go to a different plane altogether. Folks, that's what stories are made of. Special stories are made of. Somebody who's had the best of career, who could have reached anywhere in the world. She was reporting to the global head, CFO, MD, and that's the time she suddenly says, I've had enough of this materialistic world. I've gone enough outside, and I want to turn inward and have a look-see at the inner world. She joined Art of Living. She's been with the Art of Living for the last 21 years now. She's been a faculty for their almost about 15 years now. And she's regaled, she's given so much back to the society through various people, through various happiness programs which she does. I think we're very fortunate, Ms. Priti, that you've taken time off and joined us today. We also have Mrs. Seema, who is Priti's sister, and in league with her sister. Both of them are CAs. Both of them had finished their CA and formal education early and had been in the career similarly like Priti ji. Seema has also been in the career like that. So we requested Seema ji also to be here with us, and both of them together are going to be taking us through this journey. Folks, thank you so much, and over to you, Priti ji, for this wonderful journey ahead. Thank you.
So, welcome to all of you. For me, this is the first time a webinar, so it's very different, where I'm speaking and I'm not seeing the people I'm speaking to. So, please pardon me for this thing. So, Colonel, where would you like me to start?
Yeah, I suppose, it's International Yoga Day. The first thing would be, what is, why is this being celebrated? What is International Yoga Day? What's it about?
The background of the International Yoga Day is very interesting. So our Prime Minister Narendra Modi had put forth a proposal to the United Nations in the General Assembly in 2014 that we should have an International Day of Yoga. And yoga is actually a gift from India to the whole of the world. It has been there in our scriptures for 5,000 years, and various things have come and gone. We have had various types of yoga coming, various types of exercises coming, everything. But yoga dates back to 5,000 years, and it has stood the test of time. And this proposal was accepted in December 2014 by the United Nations by an overwhelming majority of about 173 out of 195 countries. So 21st June was proposed as the date because that is the longest day in the Northern Hemisphere. It's the summer solstice. So that was proposed as the date and it was accepted. So this is the 7th year of the International Day of Yoga. And first International Day of Yoga, I remember, was celebrated on Rajpath with the Prime Minister. And because Art of Living was very actively involved in, conducting that, so a lot of us were very fortunate that we got passes to go and actually attend the event there with the Prime Minister. So there were about 36,000 people who did yoga that day with the Prime Minister. So it was quite a memorable occasion.
Great, yeah, they remember that evening, remember that day. So there's an impression all around that yoga is twisting the body, various postures, twisting, twirling the body, making those kind of various postures. So at times it appears it's not for the a normal man. It is somebody who's very good in gymnastics and all those kind of persons could be doing it. So how do we find it different from say aerobics, calisthenics, and things like that?
Yeah. So there is a misconception on what is yoga. So firstly, if you look at the scriptures, and I'll quote from a few of them. So Bhagavad Gita, everybody is very familiar with. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Samatvam Yog Uttate, being equanimous and maintaining an equilibrium is yoga. Maintaining equilibrium in what? In the mind, right? So what happens to us normally is कि कुछ अच्छा होता है, Hindi English mix is fine, right, Colonel?
Yeah.
तो कुछ अच्छा होता है तो हम लोग एकदम खुशी से फूल जाते हैं. And अगर कुछ disturbance आती है life में, we get very disturbed. We lose our centeredness in both these situations, both in extreme joy and in extreme sorrow. It's like, we are on a merry-go-round. It becomes a go-round, simply a go-round. After some time, there's no merry left in it. So being in that equanimous state is what the Bhagavad Gita speaks of. And Maharishi Patanjali, who actually is considered the founder of yoga, who put it down into, practical steps for us to implement, says yoga is yoga vritti nirodha. Restraining the modulations of the mind is yoga. What are the modulations of the mind? Modulations are the mind keeps looking for proof. It gets stuck in wrong knowledge. it goes into memory, it goes down the memory lane, it goes into hallucinations. So these are all modulations of the mind. So bringing the mind back from those modulations back into the center is yoga. Okay, over a period of time, somehow the misconception has come that just doing these postures is yoga. Okay, because it is one of the ways to train the mind. Okay,
Perfect.
so when you do any exercise, it definitely gives you physical fitness. But when you look at the word yoga, it comes from the word, it means union. It comes from the word yuj, which means union of the body, mind, breath, spirit, everything coming together. When you do a movement linking it to the breath, it is yoga. If you are just doing a movement and your mind is elsewhere, it is not yoga. It will give you a physical benefit, but it is not going to give you a holistic benefit.
Great,
You
great.
get my point?
Wonderful. I think that's well explained. One keeps hearing about, say, Ashtanga yoga. So what is that? How's it different?
Ashtanga yoga is what was propagated by Maharishi Patanjali. Ashtanga means 8. So Ashtanga yoga is the 8 limbs of yoga. So a common misconception is that it is 8 steps in yoga. So many of us may be familiar with it. We would have heard of yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar. So these are not 8 steps. They are 8 limbs in the sense like when a child is born, all the limbs come together, right? It is not ki pehle haath aaya, fir pair aaya. Or when the baby is growing and we have grown also, it is not ki pehle ek pav lamba hua, fir dusra lamba hua. The whole body grows together. So it's like the 8 limbs are that they grow together in life. So the other thing was that a lot of people thought that yam niyam pehle ho. Yam is the you can call it your restraint in or morality. The actions with the external world. While niyam is your internal discipline and restraint that you apply. So niyams are like ahimsa, asteya, aparigraha, being non-violent, speaking the truth, not accumulating unnecessarily things that you don't need. And it is not just things, it is also about not holding on to what somebody said to you. That is also collecting things. What you collect in your memory is also what you have collected. So letting go of all that, that is yam. And niyam is that rules that you apply to yourself. Being contented, being happy, self-exploration, understanding yourself more. These are all maintaining cleanliness. These are all niyams. So people thought that till that is established, you cannot go towards meditation. While when we say that these are 8 limbs, you can actually start from the last one, which is samadhi. And that's what the path most people find happens in Art of Living. When they do the program and they do the Sudarshan Kriya, their first experience is of samadhi, of that being one with the entire creation. And then the other limbs come into place. No? Like when we started this program, we did 5 minutes of breathing. So that experience is what enables you to understand what is yoga. मैं बोलती जाऊं उससे क्या होगा जब आपने अनुभव किया that is more important and that is the truth for you. नहीं तो पढ़ने के लिए तो किताबें बहुत हैं लेकिन experience is your best teacher, है ना? When you have that experience, then you say, yeah, this is doable. Now, after that experience, I'm sure most of you say, yeah, yoga is doable and it is necessary. After that 5 minutes, I don't have to tell you why you should practice yoga, right?
True. So tell me, you had such a wonderful career going in the corporate world, doing so well at such young age only. You had, achieved so much. So how come you suddenly decided? Because it doesn't happen very often that people, take a sharp 180-degree turn and come the other side. So what motivated you? Because a whole lot of leaders out here would also love to understand.
Yeah. So I remember I was 36. I was DGM in HCL. I was DGM accounts at that time. And I had just got my letter as a DGM. And I looked at my boss and I said, boss, I've climbed the ladder of success to find it is leaning on the wrong wall. This is not what I want in life, but I don't know what I want. I didn't know what I wanted, but I just knew that this is not what I wanted. I did not want to go up the corporate ladder anymore. In fact, I had never thought, or I never worked for a promotion. I just gave the best that I could wherever I was. And I always reached out and helped people in whatever way I could. And I found that the organization would change, but the pattern in my life that I would get a promotion which was out of the company policy kept continuing. So where the policy was promotion every 2 years, I would get a promotion every 1 year. Where the policy was promotion every 3 years, I got a promotion every 2 years. So it was just that I kept giving my best and I kept getting rewarded for it without actually wanting it. To the stage that I reached, that I said, no, this is not what I want in life. And that's when my first program with Art of Living happened. And at that time, as would be a lot, all of you might have experienced, at the stresses and strains of a corporate life and maintaining a balance with the house life and the kids and everything takes its toll on the body. So I had reached a stage where I had cervical spondylosis, sciatica, so much pain in the body that without a painkiller, it was very difficult to move. And when I did this program, I had an immense experience of healing. That in the first program itself, all this pain that was in my cervical, in my lower back, all that just vanished. I couldn't believe it because I had tried everything. I had been to physiotherapist, allopathic, Ayurvedic, homeopathic, सब करके दिख लिया था. Nothing was working. And just one program and a breathing exercise, a simple breathing exercise gave me that kind of a relief. I couldn't imagine it, you know. And in corporate life, you have various training programs. So I had been through stress management, time management, everything I'd been through. And that only just increased my stress. Sorry, but that was the honest fact. And I found this was so beneficial. 30 minutes in the morning, I would sit in a corner and just breathe. That's it. And things just kept changing for me. I became emotionally more stable, mentally more calm and centered. To the extent that 1 month later, the manager who was sitting right across the hall, he came and asked me, Preeti, क्या हो गया? तेरी आवाज नहीं सुनाई देती आजकल. तो रोज किसी को डांट पड़ती थी तो आवाज सुनाई देती थी मेरी. So he says कि 1 महीने से तेरी आवाज नहीं सुनाई दी. Everything else remained the same. What changed was me. What changed was me, and what changed was from within. It was not externally imposed. So I was so happy with that, because what are we looking for in life? We are looking for happiness. Whatever we do, we are doing it for happiness, right? Because we think it will give us joy. It will give us some freedom. We want more money, we want more health, because it gives us more freedom, it gives us more happiness. But what we don't realize is that happiness is only temporary, right? While we are looking for a happiness which does not change, and that is not outside, that is within. So when that journey began, and I was definitely more interested in this. I did continue my job. I moved from a full-time to consulting. And then I came across a gentleman who knew me from my old HCL days, and he said, no, there's an ERP implementation, you got to join. So I joined again as an employee in Headstrong. And there I was holding down two roles. Both I was the head of the accounts, and I was also a part of the ERP team. So after that 2.5 years of, I said, enough. Now I want a sabbatical, and that sabbatical was so much fun. I never went back to corporate. But it is not to say that you got to give up your corporate life or you got to give up anything to go into yoga. Yoga only adds something beautiful to your life. I took that step because I could afford to, right? It was my interest. But where we are, all of us want to be happy. All of us want to have a state of mind which is calm, which is centered. Because when your mind is calm and centered, only then can you take a better decision in life, right? So many times we look back in life and we regret on what we said or what we did, because we reacted to the situation or we reacted to something somebody said. No? So, but when your mind is calm and centered, you respond to a situation. No? I had this very interesting experience when I was in Headstrong. I remember we were all sitting for lunch in the canteen, and my son called me up. He was in college in Manipal. And it was his last day of his exams. So I thought he must be calling to say, Mummy, exam finished. I said, Beta, paper khatam ho gaya. He said, Mummy, I missed today's exam. I said, what happened? He says, मैं सोता रह गया. So I said, oh, you didn't have a roommate? He said, no, I'm alone. So I had no roommate to wake me up. I just asked him, now what is to be done? So he said, I will come back after my holidays 2 days earlier, give a re-exam, and that is it. I said, okay, you need some money for it? He said, yeah, I have to pay 500 rupees. Okay, that is it. I kept the phone down. Everybody was sitting there with their mouths wide open looking at me. How is it? You didn't say anything. डांट नहीं लगाई, कुछ पूछा नहीं, सिंपली अभी क्या करना है? ऐसे देखो, जो होना था वो तो हो गया, उसको डांट लगाने से क्या फायदा? वो तो सो रहा था, सोता रह गया, जानबूझ के थोड़ी किया, गलती हो गई हो गई। मेरे को उस दिन समझ आया बच्चे झूठ क्यों बोलते हैं माँ बाप से। डांट खाने के डर से तो झूठ बोलते हैं कि मम्मी विल स्टॉप लविंग मी, शी विल डांट लगाए। उसको मैं इतना पैसा दे रही थी, वो मेरे को बोलता मम्मी मेरा कॉलेज जल्दी खुल रहा है, टिकट चेंज करता, 500 रुपए दे के कर लेता, लेकिन उसने हिम्मत करके मेरे से सच बोला। So I said it was very natural. It was not something that I had to do. That is what I mean. These practices that you do bring the change from within. So that is why the relationships improve so much. No? So in Bhagavad
That's wonderful.
Gita, Lord Krishna says, Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Yoga brings the skill in action. Right? When do you need skill? When you have to live in this world. You don't need skill if you have to run away to the Himalayas and sit in a cave and meditate. You need skill when you have to live this life which is full of opposites where things go up and down, right? You need skill to maintain your relationships. You need skill to maintain your state of mind, your happiness, your emotions. You need skill for making sure that that love doesn't turn to hate. You know, today what you love, tomorrow becomes hate because of your expectations or whatever. So you need skill to be able to live your life where you want to. With joy and happiness and peace. That is what we all want in addition to the comforts of life, right? Comforts to bahut mil gaya. But what we are still seeking is that peace and happiness and joy. That has to come from within.
That's well said. Well said, really. So now, yeah, I can understand the difference. When we say somebody's pumping iron in the gym, you're doing so much physical activity. Well, that activity is confined to the first level only, in the physical level only. Here you
Yes.
mentioned that you have nam, yam, niyam, all those niyam hai. It is a way of life. You have to be performing that, whether it's external cleanliness or internal cleanliness. And thereafter gradually you come forward. I think that's a major difference. I think our seers, our ancestors had lived out for this very reason. And we keep hearing, when you go into Bhagavad Gita, we hear a different type of yoga, Sankhya yoga, Bhakti yoga, Karma yoga. Now, how does that yoga gets related over here?
Yeah. So like when you understand yoga, it's bringing the mind back to the center, uniting the various aspects of your existence, then you understand that there are various paths to achieve the same goal, right? Yoga is the goal and it's also the means to achieve that goal. So it is not that एक ही रास्ता सबके लिए है, right? किसी को ज्ञान ज़्यादा भाता है. Intellectual people prefer to understand and then imbibe it in their life. उनके लिए ज्ञान योग, सांख्य योग is the way. Some people are more emotional and they are more, comfortable with the emotions and the feelings. उनके लिए भक्ति योग. Some people are more with meditation. So उनके लिए Raj Yoga or Dhyan Yoga as it is called. Some people are more with the physical this. Then the Hatha Yoga is there, right? So it's not that you have to take only one, or it's all a mixture. It's like कुर्सी के चार पाए, अगर एक पकड़ा तो बाकी तीन साथ में आएंगे ही आएंगे, पूरी कुर्सी साथ आएगी ही आएगी, है ना? कहीं से भी शुरू करो, because it is like अगर आपको गुलाब जामुन पसंद है, what will you do first? You will get knowledge of where to get it, that is Gyan Yoga, है ना? Then you will take action, go and buy it, that is Karma Yoga. You love the gulab jamun, that is Bhakti Yoga, right? So everything comes together, right?
Perfect. I think well said. I think those examples of which you give from your personal life are also wonderful, ma'am. The way the relationships also get, the whole thing is entangled so well. So it was not only physical activity at or even emotional level. It goes even beyond the emotional, also the personal family as such, the bonding in the family. I could make out the way you mentioned the example with your son. I'm sure you've had various experiences. We love to understand some more, how it changed your life, how, and do you ever look back and say, probably, did I miss out something from the corporate world, or that was the right decision at the right time? And, people sitting out here, like you mentioned earlier, that one doesn't have to leave everything and move on. One doesn't have to. But then somebody could be sitting on the edge like you and wanting to decide. So where does one draw a line?
So, like I said, I was very fortunate that my husband was doing very well. And the year I quit my job, actually, it was like somebody had heard my prayers, So one day I had just sat and prayed, "Ki, God, get me out of this rat race. I've had enough of the rat race. I'm much happier doing bhakti." And that year, my husband got an increment equal to my salary net of tax. So I said, "This is indication for me. Let's go." So actually, it started with a sabbatical. I just wanted to take a break. It was not that I just want to give up. But in that 1 year, when I gave up the job and I moved into seva, service as it's called, it's a very integral part of art of living. That you give back to the society what you have got. So I was not a faculty at that time, and I had started, going and volunteering in jails for courses that were being conducted, or going to the village and taking programs over there, breathing and all. The experiences that I had about how it changes lives really made me feel that it's better to stay this way, just continue on this path. So, if it's okay with you, I'll share an experience of Tihar jail.
Love to hear, ma'am.
So I was a volunteer at that time in Tihar jail. No, you have jail 1, jail 2, jail 3, jail 4. So based on the category of kiska saza suna diya hai, kiska abhi pending and all. I remember we were taking a course in jail 4 where it's under trials. Jinki abhi this has not been closed. And in jail, the stress levels are very high, right? Now, गलती तो जिंदगी में हम सबसे होती है, हमने भी गलतियां करी हैं. It is when you lose control on your mind, you do an action which may land you up in jail, right? So I remember we had done 2 kriyas and suddenly somebody came and gave me a slip. I was a volunteer, but because we used to take the yoga and all there, 500 people used to be doing the program together. It's not easy for a teacher to single-handedly help everybody. So you need 5, 6 volunteers. Somebody handed me a slip at the end of 2 kriyas and he just vanished. So then there was no name, nothing on the slip. He said that कल बड़े सालों के बाद मेरे जो पड़ोसी हैं बड़े आराम से सोए. उसमें लिखा था कि मेरी एसिडिटी की जो तकलीफ थी, बड़ी सालों की एसिडिटी की तकलीफ थी, वो 2 क्रिया में ठीक हो गई. पूरी रात वो आवाजें निकालता था तो उसके पड़ोसी नहीं सो पाते थे, in Tihar jail, the way it is like a big hall, 60 people sleeping literally next to each other, gadde laga ke. So he said that. Then he said that after the kriya, suddenly it came to me that the head of the family whom I killed, what must be that family going through? How must they be surviving? And that day it really shook me up. I said, look, this, you just call it a simple breathing rhythmic exercise called Sudarshan Kriya, brings that change from within. That a man can kill another man and not think about it. And suddenly after doing the Kriya, he has a 180-degree change which says that, oh God, how is that family surviving? And then he went on to say that now that this compassion has arisen in me, I wonder how will I live? How ye dunya mujhe jeeni nahi degi. That is what he had written. And that's when I understood what His Holiness Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Ji says. He says behind every culprit is a victim crying for help. उसने दुनिया कैसी देखी थी कि उसको लगा कि वो विनम्रता से इस दुनिया में जी नहीं सकता. ऐसा भी जीवन है लोगों का. They have been through so much hardship. They have had struggle so much in life that they feel that unless they are violent, unless they fight for themselves, they cannot survive. You know, this and such a transformation, and these programs are done across the world in jail. It's not only in India. And the participants who go through this program, they are generally kept separate because their entire mental attitude, their emotional outlook, everything changes, so that they are not affected by the others. They are put into service in the jail itself, so that they become useful to society once they come out. Yeah? So some of these experiences have been really, really transforming, where I felt that I can afford to give up my job and not worry about money. I'm being taken care of. And I have found at every point in time that things just get taken care of. Things get taken care of. When I started taking the courses myself, I became a teacher. I was conducting courses which was 13 kilometers away from my house. So, and I used to go in the morning, I used to go in the evening, I would go to conduct knowledge sessions, everything. People used to ask me only one question: आपका घर कैसे चलता है? When you are out of the house so often. बच्चे मेरे बहुत बड़े नहीं थे. They're still in school. I said, I don't know. Somebody takes care. The children are just taken care of. I said, everything just happens on your own. So like in Bhagavad Gita again, Lord Krishna says, जो धर्म को संभालता है, upholds dharma, धर्म उसको संभालता है. When you look after the creation, when you look after the universe looks after you. It is not to say that you just throw up everything and say, okay, you take a balanced outlook in life, but balance the life. We are multifaceted. We have a family life, we have a work life, we need to have hobbies, we need to give back to the society to create a balance in life.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's well explained, really. So there was not only a change within, there's a change close by, the change across for the society as such. Going to and doing this activity in the jails is wonderful. I'm sure it must have been a different experience altogether. People who've done the hardest of crimes, and to be able to walk up to them, to be able to talk to them, and I think it really needs different type of strength. Wonderful, really. And what do you advise, people sitting out here in the corporate world, the kind of pressures each year, the pressures only piling up. And, times like this when COVID has struck, the pressures are piled up multifold. You're sitting at home, you're trying to balance, while there was a different type of, work-life balance earlier when you go to the office. You may be sitting at home, you think you've got a lot of time more, but then in a connected 24/7 connected world, the boss wants the answer yesterday. So how does one handle it, and where do you advise leaders sitting out here? How do they, one may not be as fortunate, like you mentioned, that you have to balance out. You've got your responsibilities towards the family, financial and such like. So some sort of advice and direction that could be given.
So that is where actually yoga comes in, and where yoga really helps. When you have to keep all the balls in the air, you have to keep them all floating. It is very important that first you look after yourself, your own mental and emotional health. COVID has brought this literally in our face, that anxiety, the fear, the stress that has built up is phenomenal. I have talked to people who say कि भाई मैं बीमार पड़ जाऊं, मेरे को डर नहीं है, लेकिन मेरे को ये डर है कि अगर मैं मर गया तो मेरे परिवार को कौन देखेगा, right? And the whole environment is such that it is full of fear and anxiety right now. At this time, yoga is what really helps you to come back to the center, right? We take all the precautions that we need, but when our fear levels are high, when our anxiety is high, we are actually reducing our immunity. It is inversely proportional. So we are on one hand trying to increase our immunity, on the other hand we are holding on to fear and anxiety. We're actually reducing our immunity, and that's where yoga comes in. So we have been holding under the Art of Living Aegis, we have been holding free COVID care camps for people who are currently positive, for people who are recovering from COVID. They left, very short on breath. They have fatigue, they have stress, obviously, because they've gone through a trauma. And then there are people who have not had COVID and they want to increase their immunity. They are also facing fear and anxiety. So we have been doing these 30-40 minute sessions, and there is such an immense impact on all of them. You know, youngsters who have never thought of yoga suddenly realize, oh, pranayam will help. So they come in for that. And the first day, 40-minute sessions, and they say, oh, wow, we never thought that yoga was for us. You know, just a simple breathing has been so helpful to them. People come in saying our chest is hurting after COVID. And third day, they say the pain has gone. Because if you understand how this body is created and how it works, you know, we learned it in school somewhere that when we breathe in, we take in oxygen into the lungs. And what happens to that oxygen? Blood comes in from the heart to the lungs. It picks up the oxygen, gives the carbon dioxide, and then the blood goes through the whole body, every organ, every tissue, every muscle, giving oxygen, picking up carbon dioxide, and coming back to the heart and then to the lungs and giving the carbon dioxide to be exhaled and picking up oxygen. Now we do that 5 liters a minute. That is what your heart does. 5 liters a minute is sent through the whole body. Now, when there is not enough oxygen going into your lungs, what happens? You can understand, right? There is not enough oxygen in the blood. So the heart has to work harder. That is why the chest starts paining. People have heart issues because the heart has to work harder to give the oxygen. Now, when there is not enough oxygen, which organ will fail, you don't know. You don't know. And carbon dioxide is the waste of the metabolic activity of the organ. When the lungs are not working properly, the carbon dioxide is not being exhaled enough, right? So that toxins are getting left in the body, which is a double whammy. That is why it is so important to do pranayama at this time. Huh? Just a little breathing exercises which will help your lungs to become powerful. And it is not just helping your lungs, it is helping your whole physical and physiological system in the body, right? So at this point, it has become very, very important for all of us to do pranayama and meditation. Meditation is really very important to center the mind, to come back to the balance. So that if you get it also, you will recover much faster. No? We have been born in a family where yoga was the way of life since we were children. मतलब बचपन में हम लोग को it was mandatory 1 घंटा योगा करना है. हठ योगा is mandatory. तो उल्टे खड़े होना, नाक को घुटने से लगाना, हाथ जैसे तुम बोलो सारे पोस्टर्स कर रखे हैं. अब नहीं होते वो पोस्टर्स, लेकिन अब ये समझ आया असल में योगा is bringing your mind to a state of balance. No? And when you do these yoga postures, you are training the mind. When you are standing in an asana, which is a little difficult for you, which is a little uncomfortable for you, you are training the mind to go beyond its comfort zone. And when you unite it with the breaths, you bring your mind, your emotions, your breath, everything together. You integrate your various levels which are all spread around. No? We are not just the body. We look at ourselves. First, let us understand what are we. We are a body-mind complex, that much we know. We understand also. एक डरावनी पिक्चर बैठ जाओ अपने हॉल रूम में बैठ के देखो, वो हॉरर सीन आएगा, your heart will start beating faster, you will start sweating, your breath becomes short. What is happening? You're sitting in the comfort of your house, but that fear is impacting your body also, right? So body-mind are connected. We know that. You have an intellectual level. We all know we take the rational part of us, the decision-making ability in us is the intellect. We have a memory. We retain what we hear, we see, our experiences are stored in us. So there are multiple levels to us. So bringing all of them together, because otherwise they're always in conflict. Right? You can simply be sitting on the dining table and having a conflict. I want to eat more. And the intellect will say, no, no, don't eat more. And the memory will say, yeah, it tasted very good. Let me have one more. You know, there's this constant conflict within us. Bringing all our levels of existence together is yoga.
So well explained, ma'am. From the biological, from the mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, I think yoga is a wonderful activity touching all parts of our being as such. Seemaji, you also been been in step with your sister all through. You also done the same as far as the professional activity is concerned. You also been a CA. You also been wonderful in the corporate world. You're a yoga teacher. So how you found this activity and how you've seen the changes in your sister, in a family? What was the discussion such like? You love to, see that part also, understand that part.
Um, so, actually, Preeti was always a little spiritually inclined. I was not. So I would say she was a little instrumental in getting me into this path and into, doing this technique, the Sudarshan Kriya. And, somebody told her 1 month later, but for me, it was very instant. So I still remember I was doing the course and I came back home and, I'll just take a little time to say this. So there was a huge puddle of water, which I thought was water on the kitchen, in the kitchen. And when I touched it, I realized it was oil. The whole oil can had fallen over. And, हमारा normal reaction क्या होता है, with the family members, दिखा नहीं, आँखें की बटन है, क्या है, इतना सारा तेल पड़ा है, दिखा नहीं. And all I told was, it's okay. Obviously, you didn't see it. Otherwise, you would have cleaned it up or you would have picked it up. So let's just do it. And within 2 minutes, it was all cleared up. And my family couldn't believe it, that just in 4 days, in doing the Kriya twice, there can be such a remarkable difference. And with Preeti, I had noticed that pitch. So one is your pitch is very high, one there is angst in your voice. So you can talk loudly, that's the pitch being high. But while there is a pitch highness, there is no angst in the voice. That is a difference. So you need to talk loudly to your children, you need to shout at them, because otherwise they don't hear you sometimes, but it should not impact your heart and your head. So that sound is from just the throat. And that is what I observed in her, that with time that was there, even when handling the children. And the other thing which I observed with her was that, see, what happens is that we get into this herd mentality, So if one person is complaining, which is very common in the corporate world, the nicest pastime is to complain about your seniors. वो धर्म से अधिकार है आपका.
Boss को तो boss has to be.
Boss है तो boss को तो बिल्कुल. But she started avoiding. If I was in a complaint mode, she would very skillfully say, "Arey, I am getting another call. Gas पे दूध रखा है," and she will disconnect and go off. Because that complaining what would happen is, see, our minds are still not reached that level where we cannot be impacted by it. So the negativity of one person, you absorb and you become negative. So if you ask for advice, okay, Preeti would happily give it. You say, I am in this situation, how do I handle it? So I realized that what she is doing is she is disconnecting from the negativity and the negative environment around. So
that's wonderful. That's wonderful, ma'am. To be changing your personality altogether, just leaving out the negativity, leaving out what is not desired for life. You're very clear about the goal. I just want positive things to happen. I want good things to happen.
Yeah. I mean, if you start looking in the corporate, if I connect it to the corporate world, if you realize that the boss also has a job to do, rather than complain about another senior, put yourself in their shoes and see, that how much pressure they have to take. I mean, I think the CEO of any organization has the maximum pressure, because you cannot believe how the shareholders and investors, can make your life really miserable.
True.
So I think if in the corporate world we become a little more calmer ourselves, we won't feel that urge to complain and vent.
Well said, ma'am. Well said, really. I think that's really good. Great hearing. I think, we can go on and on and on. I'm sure, Preeti ji, you got so much, experience out here, and we're going to be falling short of time, because I suppose you need more sessions with you to gain all that, and I can make out with both of you together. I think it can be a wonderful journey. Maybe again also we got some questions coming up. Of course, a lot of appreciations also. You know, I just read out what are the appreciations which are coming in initially. Mr. Chopra, Rajesh Nath Chopra has mentioned that wonderful presentation, very well organized, vital points raised, which are explained nicely with practical examples. Inderpal Gujral is saying felt very light and relaxed. That was in the beginning. Major Shubhara, she finds it very amazing. Bhandari says so true to the statements which are coming in. Sridhar says meditation or yoga, which one is best, especially to control mind? I think you covered that, but I think Ms. Priti, you may like to go a little all over again for this part.
So yoga, like we said, most people misunderstand it's only as asanas. It's not only asana, it is asana, pranayam, and meditation. Meditation is a very integral part of yoga. So yoga is the path, and it is also the goal. So if you have to enter your mind, if you want to calm your mind, intellect, emotions, then meditation is very essential. Meditation is the only way to do it. And I think Colonel has been conducting weekly meditation sessions. That's why I didn't actually conduct a meditation session. I just gave that small glimpse on, if you want, we can do that exercise again, Colonel, if we have the time. We can do that couple of minutes again so that everybody gets an experience of life.
Fine, we'll do that. There's another question Mr. Chopra has mentioned. Please give some tips how we can motivate younger generation to follow yoga principles. How we can motivate younger generation to follow the yoga principles. Some tips on that.
Some tips on that. I found, when it's a very sad thing, but those who got COVID and they came in for the sessions, they were really inspired to continue. Right? It is very unfortunate that we have gone away from our own cultural heritage. Like I remember as children, we didn't have a choice. We had to do yoga. There was no way that we couldn't do. When my children were younger, I put them through the programs, Art of Living programs, which was for the children. My son did it when he was in the 10th, I remember. And at that time, he had his FITG classes and all. I told him no classes after school for 1 week. And those days, the courses were very rare. He had to travel about 45 minutes to his course, and then he would do the course, come back at night. पूरा हफ्ता उसने फिटजी की क्लासेस अटेंड नहीं करी. And honestly speaking, सब घर वाले बोले ये आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग कुछ ज्यादा हो गया है. They just didn't think it was a done thing. It was in the 10th after all. And what I found in my son is that after that, he was able to sit for 3 hours continuously without getting up from his studies. Otherwise, हर थोड़ी देर में मम्मी मुझे भूख लगी है, मम्मी प्यास लगी है, मम्मी मुझे बाथरूम जाना है, बैठ ही नहीं पाता था. बैठेगा नहीं तो पढ़ाई कहाँ से करेगा? When he went through that program, that itself brought the change in him. Same thing with my daughter. She was a teenager. घर में 2 teenagers हैं, तो those of us who have teenagers know what happened घर में, right? But it was very nice when the children had gone through. Like I'm still on the path, right? मेरे को भी गुस्सा आता था. अगर मेरे को गुस्सा आया, बच्चे एकदम शांत है. बच्चों को गुस्सा आया तो मैं शांत हूँ. Things never spiraled out of control in the house as a whole. No, एक जना भी अगर शांत रहा, things don't go from bad to worse, right? So to bring the children in, it is much better to start as young as possible when you still have a say on what they should do and what they should not do. That is my take on it. As they grow older, it is difficult, but if you can tell them that, look, it is a matter of 3 days, 4 days. It's what 4 days, 2 hours. 8 hours. करके देखो, मेरे कहने पे करके देखो. Use emotional blackmail if required, right? Once they experience it, the change happens on its own. Like I said, you don't have to do anything. It comes from within.
I think that's well said. Especially there's so many young parents out here, children just getting into teenagers, and so I think that's a wonderful example. If you put the children also through this path, initially it may look a little difficult for that, but yes, I understand there are various levels, and kids find what is suitable for them. The programs are also structured in that fashion only. I think they'll enjoy that.
And that's what I found, that the whole art of living thing is not all serious, no? It is a lot more fun. For the children, they teach through games. So when I put my daughter through it, she wrote a poem on world peace at the end of it. She was still like, in the 7th or 8th standard she was, and she wrote a poem on world peace. Every year I just put them through one program, and when she was working in State Bank, she told me, the manager asked, what is it that you have done? Because I see a great difference in your outlook and the way you handle the, clients and customers. And the others, you don't get rattled. And it is not that my daughter practices. It is just that the lessons learned at that age stay with them for much longer. She's much more patient. She's much more understanding. Her perspective is much wider. No, so she doesn't get rattled so easily. That makes a lot of difference.
There are more comments coming in. Sridhar, thank you for that. He's understood the meditation yoga difference which you brought in. Aarti is conveying that it's a wonderful session. Ajay Sharma has got a query. He says, what is your thought on personalized yoga, as we are unique and different musculoskeletal?
Musculoskeletal, yeah. So, in Art of Living, we do conduct yoga courses where we teach asana, pranayam and all. And there are also classes which are held on a daily basis. So the things that are done, obviously, depending on your illnesses, the teacher tells you on what you can do and what you should not do. As you keep doing these things, your ailments reduce, you can continue. So musculoskeletal, kahin aapka yahan tight hai, wahan tight hai. Like I said, I had cervical problem and I had severe lower back pain. So a lot of things I could not do at that time. So I would avoid those, but as the health improved, I have been able to do that. So there, yes, a personalized, that's why it's always better to learn asanas from a trained faculty member rather than watching TV or YouTube. Because a YouTube is not going to tell you, that don't do it like this, or you don't get that personalized attention. I remember a lot of people, when they come into the Art of Living program and we teach them Kapalbhati, they do it the way they have seen Baba Ramdev on the TV. What they forget is he's got a mic in front of him, right? So the sound is much amplified. And when you do that without mic, you try to get that sound, you're injuring your inner nasal cavities. So you need personalized attention. So it's always better to learn yoga from a teacher one-on-one. So these days, everything is online. You have small batches, you get the personalized attention. I've had Sima and I take courses together for yoga. We have people coming in who have been doing yoga asanas for years. But, acha chalo, Priti ji bol rahi hai, to attend kar lete hain, aise karke aate hain. And they said, oh, you didn't realize this is what we are doing wrong. And it makes so much difference to make a shift. It's always best to learn from a trained faculty member. And then as your health improves, then you can start doing what you're not able to do now. Otherwise, there's always the fear that you will injure yourself.
Very quick one, quick touch on this craniosacral therapy that you do. Very quick one, please.
What would you like me to tell you about?
It's got people out here may not be even, maybe a different word for quite a few of people out here. So, a very quick one, please.
Okay. So in a layman's language, I'll explain what is biodynamic craniosacral therapy. So cranio refers to is a medical term for the head. Okay, and the sacrum is the part of the spine which is in your hips, between the hips. The spine runs from just where your head ends to the coccyx, that is the part where your anus is. So your nervous system is in your brain and runs along the spine. And the nerves come out from various parts between the disc, go to the body. So like, it comes out from the neck and goes to your arms. The people who have cervical problems, they find that their hands are numb. Because the nervous system is the communication channel, the electric communication channel of the body. Endocrine system is your chemical communication channel. So this therapy works on the entire nervous system and brings it to a balance. So we have two main systems which some of us would have heard. sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system, right? So when we have to do some action, the body goes and fires the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight mode. And the parasympathetic is rest or digest. Now, as human beings, what has happened is that we have got stuck in the sympathetic nervous system. If you look in the animal kingdom, you will see like a deer is grazing. It hears a sound, its ears go up. That is the sympathetic nervous system firing. Okay. And then when it sees the tiger, it starts running. It's in the flight mode then, right? And then comes the time when the deer is pounced on. The tiger pounces on the deer. You will see in the animal kingdom the animal freezes, and that happens to us also. It freezes. That is the freeze mode. When that danger goes away, the tiger looks and thinks, "Oh, ye to mar gaya." It goes away. Then the deer will stand up and shake itself. You will see in the cat and mouse also. Mouse freezes. That happens to us also. Our nervous system is the same. When there is too much fear, everything freezes. हम बोलते हैं ना, एकदम मेरे को कुछ भी नहीं समझ आया, right? You talk to victims who have been attacked by tigers. They say we didn't feel the pain. That is the way nature has built us. The nervous system freezes so that you don't feel the pain. Okay? Now, what happens is that all the things that we experience in life, we are a body-mind complex, stored in the body and in the mind. So as you release from the mind, you need to release from the body also. So this system, this therapy actually uses the innate intelligence in the system to bring the body back to a balance, right? So if you look at it that when you were born in the mother's womb, you developed in a very layman's language, there's no manual intervention in the creation of the body. Was an intelligence in you which said ki aankhein yahan pe, naak yahan pe, muh yahan pe, which knew that the moment you are born, your lungs have to start working. Your heart starts working before, but your lungs start working the moment you come out of the womb, right? When you when you eat food on a daily basis, it digests on its own. आपकी सांस अपने से चलती है. आप रात को सोते हो, बॉडी तो काम करता रहता है. How does it work? Innate intelligence which is within you, right? Get hurt, the body knows how to heal it. आपकी हड्डी टूटती है, अपने से जुड़ती है. The plaster is only to make sure कि वो सीधे जुड़े, right? So that innate intelligence in the body knows what is to be done. So it is supporting that innate intelligence to bring your whole system back to a balance, and that is biodynamic cranial psychotherapy. And I was actually very fortunate to learn it at a time when, as a mother, I also have my family responsibilities. So it has happened twice that I was asked to step back from my external commitments and stay at home. My daughter was studying for UPSC and she needed support because it's very high stress studies, So I stopped going out of the house for courses, programs, everything, and I used to sit at home. It was very difficult when your entire being says, I should be out there helping. That's when somebody told me there is this program happening in Delhi and it is open now for non-doctors. Earlier it was only doctors because the doctor would make an adjustment in your system. Now we don't make an adjustment, we support the body to adjust itself. So I would go for 5 days, classes every 2 months. And practice sessions, people would come home, they would experience healing and they would be so happy. And I was happy because I was helping people. It is just that when there is a willingness inside you to serve the society, to want to help, the opportunity will come on its own. That's been my experience. Just that willingness, just the willingness. Because anything that you desire, you get from the universe. If you want to reach the top, that is what you will get. Whatever you want, you will get. So that was my desire and that just manifested.
Seema ji, you want to add something? I suppose you wanted to convey something.
Actually, Priti has already covered most of it.
Yeah.
Something had come to my mind when she was talking about the earlier thing. So one thing, very beautiful, what Priti said was that yoga is 5,000 years old. And our rishis understood the mind, So even if you look at the Yoga Sutras, the first chapter is on Samadhi. So first he talks about the experience, and then they talk about how to keep that experience, how to, remain on the path, what are the obstacles one can face. But the first chapter is on samadhi. So what Preeti mentioned, that, you on Ashtang Yoga, whatever, you can take any one and all the 8 limbs will come together. So in fact, Preeti and me are conducting a session from 24th, which is a 4-day session, just 2 hours. And it's going to be very simple. And that myth that yoga is standing on the head, we want to break that myth. Or that, you have to be on a yoga mat only to experience that harmony. Preeti spoke about yoga being the union. And it is not that a body posture, it is experiencing that harmony, that infinity within you. And so this course is going to be just sitting on a chair and working on the full body. So excellent for corporate people who spend so much time on the chair. So things which you can even sit in the office and do. Preeti, I think, will share the details with you, Colonel.
We'll collect it from you separately. We'll share it with people. I'm sure they will love it. They'll enjoy it. They'll find it very useful. There are more comments coming in. Shashank Bhargav says, Preeti ji is a treasure trove of knowledge. She always speaks from experience. It's so very enlightening. I think very blessed evening today that we've learned from your experience. Ms. Priti Bhatnagar, even Ms. Seema also, you've given the right kind of inputs. I think very fortunate that we've had this session today. And I'm sure we're not going to leave you like this. We're going to be having more sessions with you. Time continues to be a constraint out here. As far as that meditation part is concerned, I'm not too sure whether people...
It's okay. So we can do one thing. I believe you have a weekly meditation session. I'm sure the people who are attending the session will come in. Like I was sharing in Headstrong when I was working 16 hours a day. Okay. 9 in the morning till whatever, 12, 1 at night, we would be in office. And I wanted to do something. So I started having weekly meditation sessions there. So I would meditate and everybody else would meditate. We just put on a guided meditation. And people started sharing their experience in just that 30 minutes once a week. They started saying their aggression is going down. The mind is becoming more centered. The family is feeling the difference, So it seems like it's only once a week, but the effect of it is much longer. As we start practicing, it makes a lot of difference. And don't think that 4 दिन में वो achieve हो जाएगा. Okay? We did our schooling in 10 years. We took our degree, we were much older, right? We have spent something like 18 to 20 years to get our degree. Okay. So when you are looking at the mind, you also have to understand that there is a certain kind of training which has been given to the mind in all these years, which is many of us are, multitasking. Mind has to do this and this and this and this. Everything has to be done together. So it takes time to bring that mind to a place of centeredness. Don't judge yourself कि भाई मेरा तो हो नहीं रहा है. 4 दिन नहीं, 4 महीने नहीं, 4 साल नहीं. Give it time. Don't put a deadline to it कि इन्हीं दिनों में मेरे को result आना है. Okay. So be kind to yourself. Give yourself time and space to make mistakes, to fall down, but just get up and continue walking the path again. Right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bhatnagar, and thank you, Seema. It's been wonderful hearing you both. I'll now request Inder Gujral to come forward and give his comments, his thank you note. Inder, please go ahead.
So thank you very much for organizing this, and thank Priti ma'am and Seema ma'am. We were thinking that yoga is more of exercise, but you have actually changed our thoughts. You might have not seen many of the participants, but I can assure you that it has touched a lot of people, and surely they will see a change in their thoughts about the yoga and how it can actually change their life. Like you shared your family experience, your personal experience at the jail. And now I can believe that, the yoga is not only for me, but how it can actually change your family, your society. And it is more than what I was thinking about yoga, but it's actually a way of life. And I think if people have not started it, they can start it anytime. But I'm sure that they will be benefit of this. Thank you very much for coming in, sharing your experience, giving us the time, showing us the path, and thanks to all the participants. I'm sure it will going to change our life. We can go on this, but only the time is constrained. But I think whatever the time we have spent with you is precious for us, is invaluable. So thank you very much. Thanks everyone.
Thank you so much for inviting us, Colonel, today.
Thank you.
Like I said, when Inderpalji was speaking, when I was doing 16 hours in Headstrong, my boss used to only ask me one thing: how is it that you look the same at 9 in the morning and 9 at night? Okay. And I said, I have an open secret. I do my breathing practices in the morning, and uske baad din mein jo karna hai karti hu main. It doesn't make a difference to me, right? So to succeed in corporate life, you definitely need yoga. You definitely need to have a say on your mind, on your emotions, right?
Wonderful, wonderful. Folks, Samir, Jaya, anybody else, Mr. Chopra, Dr. Shalini, Shashank, anybody like to, convey your thanks? You're welcome.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Prabhakar. Hello.
Please go ahead, Mr. Chopra. Please go ahead.
Hello.
We are really thankful for this wonderful sessions organized by you, and Mrs. Priti has given us a very wonderful knowledge. I have my earlier experiences are also with Mrs. Priti when I had a chance to assist with her in the courses, and I had learned the initial sessions of yoga from Mrs. Priti. This is my good luck, and today we are blessed by his wonderful experiences again in this period, and this will again go a long way in our life. We are happy, and we request you to organize these type of sessions as and when it is possible. Thank you very much, all of you, and Mrs. Seema also.
Thank you, folks. Thanks
Hello,
once
ma'am.
again.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Dr. Shalini, please go ahead.
Yes, myself, Dr. Shalini. Though I joined late because I came to know about this session a bit late by Mr. R.K. Dhammi, but when I joined, I found this session really wonderful and very, very knowledgeable, because many things ma'am discussed, they were really very nice. So this is really a very good session. So kindly keep on this type of session more regularly. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, all of the organizers.
Thank you so
I
much.
would only say one thing: ki theory se zyada practical is more important, right? So we have heard the theory. I hope you all are inspired to take the path of yoga and make it a way of life. That is how it has been in India. And I hope all of us are inspired on this International Day of Yoga to make yoga a way of life rather than something separate in our life, So Colonel is there with you in this company. It is like you are really very fortunate you have somebody who's so inspired with yoga, who will help you walk the path.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, folks, for joining in. I'm sure you've had a wonderful session. I'm sure you enjoyed. We continue with this series. This was a Motivational Monday. As you all know, we have this Motivational Monday. Tomorrow is a Technical Tuesday. Workout Wednesday follows on the Wednesday. That day we have physical, that hut yoga activity, Workout Wednesday. Then we have Thoughtful Thursday. There's a day discussions and mental activities come in. We have a fun Friday. Thereafter, you've been through this physical activity. Then you must have fun towards the end of the week. Then you have again a little bit of inner looking inside, soulful, spiritual Saturday, and then you have a smiling Sunday. That's how we, worked out. This COVID period has been tough. You have to keep people engaged. You have to keep the leaders, very clear. So we worked out this activity almost hour and a half every day we have in the evening when we have these kind of activities. So, folks, continue this activity. You're welcome. Those who have just come in for this, you are welcome to join the GACS chapter, Global Association for Corporate Services. This is coming to you from GACS, Global Association for Corporate Services, an organization which in the last 3 years has blossomed from 0 to 6,000 members all across the globe. And we do various activities for the corporates as such. So, and we last about 1.5 years that we've been affected by this COVID. We thought how to keep the leaders engaged. And so this was one of the activities which we are doing. Once again, thanks for joining in. All the very best. Continue. Let this yoga activity not be confined to the International Yoga Day only. Let it be confined to every day of the year. And 1 year from now, when we get together here, we should have, all of us should have so many stories to share. Thank you, Priti. Thank you so much for joining in. Thanks for enlightening us. Thank you,
Thanks,
Mrs. Kumar.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.